So the first one is nationwide waiver number 57, and it is to allow reimbursement for meals served prior to notification of approval and provide flexibility for pre-approval visits in the summer food service program. So basically, this one is allowing you all to claim your August meals under SSO if you have an approved application, and under SFSP if you have an approved application. That is why we locked claims. But claims are open now. So if you have an approved application, your FY21 application for Nslp is approved, and you have a gold lock by your SSO, you may go put in a claim for August under SSO for breakfast and lunch. If you did after school snack, that will be claimed under National School Lunch under snack, because you can only do 2 meals on Seamless Summer. So that's what this nationwide waiver 57 is. It also deals with, there's some pre-approval, they've given some pre-approval visit flexibilities for the summer food service program, so those have been waived. The other one we got, and that's the second one down here on the slide, is a memo. It is SP for school programs 25-2020. It also covers our childcare programs, and it also covers summer feeding. This one has Q&As attached to it. After school snack on Nslp. Yes, Nancy, you can also serve snack on Nslp, but do breakfast and lunch on summer feeding. Okay, so I'm going to go through the questions and answers. I'm not going to read them verbatim, but I am going to read a few things. We will get to the question of whether you have to refund students or not. Stay tuned, it's coming. Okay, hold off on the questions in the chat for just a second, and let's get through this memo. I think we're going to answer several of these questions for you, okay? Okay, so the first one is, which child nutrition program may school food authorities and sponsors operate during the waiver period? SFAs may operate the National School Lunch, School Breakfast, Seamless Summer, or Summer Food Service Program. SFAs also may operate the at-risk after-school component of the Child and Adult Care Food Program concurrently with any of the programs previously mentioned. Non-SFA sponsors may operate the summer feeding program. You guys are all sponsors though. I'm sorry, you guys are all SFAs, sorry. Sponsors may also operate the at-risk after-school meals component of the CACFP concurrently with summer food service program. So those of you that are doing SSO and you're approved for the Child and Adult Care Food Program at risk, you may do SSO, breakfast and lunch, at risk, supper and snack if you choose to. Those of you that are doing summer feeding and are approved, you may do breakfast and lunch under summer feeding. And if you're approved for at risk, you may do supper and a snack. Those can be sent home virtually because we have the non-congregate feeding waiver, we have the parent pickup waiver, we have the mealtime flexibility waiver. If you're going to do at risk, you must, and send it home virtually, or send the meal home, and you must submit a virtual educational enrichment activity that did not go away. Okay. All right, number 2, can at-risk after-school meals component of the CACFP operate simultaneous with the summer feeding and SSO? Yes. The at-risk after-school meals component of the CACFP, which operates during the regular school year, may operate simultaneously with the summer feeding and SSO during the implementation of Waiver 56. Remember, the nationwide waiver number 56 is the one that was issued a couple weeks ago that allowed these waivers for SFSP and SSO to continue until December 31st. However, under no circumstance may children receive more than the number of reimbursable meals allowed in each program for which they are eligible. So remember, summer feeding and SSO, 2 meals. At risk is only 1 meal and a snack. Okay? Okay, we're going to keep going. Number 3, which SFSP, SSO sponsor type should state agencies prioritize when approving new sponsors? State agencies must avoid duplication of services in particular areas. We can't have a bunch of sponsors doing summer feeding all in one area. That's regulatory, it's not allowed. So the state agency, D, determines that. And the first person who gets priority for those programs for summer feeding are the schools. The second priority are public agencies and private nonprofit organizations that have participated in summer food service program previously. Then we have to give, then third would be new public agencies, and fourth would be new private nonprofit organizations. Schools get priority. If two or more sponsors apply to serve the same area per regulation 225(6)(b) requires state agencies to make a determination on a case-by-case basis and consider the resources and capabilities of each applicant. Additionally, when approving sites under 7 CFR 225.6(d)(ii), requires state agencies to ensure that sites are not duplicating services within the summer feeding and SSO programs. So it also goes on to say, therefore, if an SFA meeting program requirement seeks approval to provide meals through the SFSP or SSO, the state agency should only consider approval of other applicants if there is a clear gap in service that the non-SFA applicant proposes to cover and that services will not be overlapping. As a result, these requirements, some sponsors may, even those that were operating during summer of 20, may be required to discontinue operations. So the schools will be given priority. Number 4, may SFSP sponsors amend their application to reflect continuation of the operations through December 31st of 20, or should they submit a new application to determine which sites can operate SFSP and SSO? The state agency has the discretion to, with regard to the process used to extend SFSP and SSO applications, and FNS encourages use of streamlined application extension process for sponsors that were previously approved for summer of 20. Now keep in mind, we have that ability or that discretion, but because of our system, we have to have an approved application on file. So that is a system, or there's no claiming if you don't have an approved application. That's how our systems work, and that's how most systems work in other states as well. So we do have to have an approved application first. Okay, number 5 is dealing with the streamlined application process as well, but again, the same thing, our system requires an approved application. There are certain things that will roll over from September or from August, really September, into the new program year when you have to apply for summer feeding again, but we also have to gather other information. There's some of that doesn't roll over that you'll have to fill in. I think it deals a lot with program operations is really what it deals with. So yeah, Dee's shaking her head in agreement with me. Okay, this number 6 is going to answer the questions about refunds. If an SFA that opts to participate under the Waiver 56, which is the summer feeding or SSO, and meals through Nslp, when you started serving meals at the beginning of the year under Nslp, but now you have this flexibility to serve under SFSP or SSO for the until December, what do you do with those? It's going to talk about what you do with those refunds. When submitting your claim for meals served between the beginning of school year, which is August in most everyone's cases, and through December 31st of 20, SFAs which have been approved to participate in SSO or SFSP pursuant to Waiver 56 may claim meals served under SFSP or SSO rather than through Nslp or SBP. States may reimburse FSAs for these meals at the free rate through SFSP or SSO. So we are able to let you claim meals, your August meals, through SSO or SFSP, whichever you have the approved application for. Has to have an approved application. However, any student who paid for their meals must receive a refund for their meal payments. So don't panic. You can credit their account for those August meals because you're going to claim them as free. So that's going to be different in everyone's system. So I can't explain that. You'll need to reach out to your program, whoever has your program. But you can, if the parent wants a refund of that money, you do have to refund that money. But if they're okay with you just applying it back to their account, that is acceptable. Okay? But you do have to, if you're going to claim them as free, you've got to give them that credit back. If they want a refund, you do have to issue a refund. Okay, may state agencies reimburse summer feeding sponsors for meals that served before the sponsor was notified of written approval for participation in the program. That's a yes. That's for our private nonprofits that would be operating the summer food service program. So that is what that is. You guys are all schools. 8, may an SFA choose to participate under National School Lunch, School Breakfast instead of summer feeding or SSO? Yes, you can operate whichever program you want. You're only going to claim under one. If you want to stay on National School Lunch, School Breakfast, feel free. That's your choice as a district. You will claim the meals categorically under free, reduced, or paid under National School Lunch. If you want to switch to SSO, most of you, we had told you to complete your SSO application with your Nslp renewal. And so we did that just in case. I guess we were on the right track with that. And then summer feeding as well, if you're choosing to go over to summer feeding. Dee's gotten a lot of calls and emails, and she's working her way through all that. So number 9, may a state approve an SFA to operate summer feeding at some schools and operate National School Lunch, School Breakfast at other? You can, if that's what you choose to do. There's no federal requirement that an SFA can be approved for only one program to operate in all schools within the SFA. State agencies may approve SFAs to operate different child nutrition programs based on the needs of each school. FNS strongly encourages state agencies and SFAs to provide the flexibility needed to meet the varying school circumstances. State agencies may choose not to approve SFAs to operate, sorry, I had to flip the page, different child nutrition programs at their individual schools if operational impediments exist that would prevent them from effectively managing such arrangements. We don't feel that this is going to be an issue. It is left up to you all if you want, how you want to do that. Number 10, can SFAs operating the summer feeding or SSO under Waiver 56 serve weekend meals and serve all children through age 18, regardless of whether the children are enrolled in the SFA? If the SFA sites are approved as open sites, they must serve all children who request a meal from those sites. However, states, SFAs, and sponsors are encouraged to tailor their operations to the needs of the community, and state agencies should review sponsor plans with this in mind. SFAs also may elect to operate closed enrolled sites that only serve enrolled students. But if you do that, remember, you're only serving your students. No younger siblings that come by with mom, a 1 or 2-year-old. It would only be those enrolled students if you're closed enrolled. Additionally, meals may be offered on weekends and holidays consistent with the SFSP SSO regulations. As a reminder, the continuation of Waiver 56 is contingent on the availability of funds, and we will get to that in just a second. So I've had a couple emails today regarding a 4-day school day. So again, if a school only goes 4 days and doesn't do anything on Friday, that's not a claimable meal on that Friday. If it's a virtual day, you could send meals home for that Friday. So, okay, the next one is 11. If an SFA opts to participate under the non-congregate waiver for breakfast, is the SFA required to offer non-congregate meals for lunch? I haven't had this question come up, but someone posed it because it must have been an important question to someone because they've put it in this guidance. The answer is no. However, if a state agency has elected to use the non-congregate waiver, which was number 33, extension 4 of the nationwide waivers to allow non-congregate feeding and child nutrition, schools that have elected to implement the waiver must offer the meals to every enrolled student, whether they attend virtually or in person. That was the guidance we were given, and that hasn't changed. FNS strongly encourages schools to make meals available to all enrolled students. However, a school may decide to offer non-congregate meals only at breakfast, but not at lunch. In that case, non-congregate meals must be made available to all enrolled students at breakfast, but can be limited to those students attending school in person at lunch. Also, please note that if meals are offered through the SFSP or SSO, and the school is operating an open site per 7 CFR 225.2, the school must make meals available to all children who attend the site. Okay, question 12 and 13 specifically deal with the area eligibility waiver. And a lot of states, when they did that area eligibility waiver, they only allowed schools that maybe met 30% where instead of 50. We allowed all sites, regardless of your site percentage of free and reduced, to participate. So I'm not really going to address 12 because it's talking about the state's plan, and I was instructed that everyone would participate in the area eligibility waiver. So, and that's the case with number 13. It's dealing with the nationwide area eligibility expanding into areas that weren't covered before. Well, we allowed that for everyone. So number 14 deals with the funding question, and I'm going to read it verbatim just so I get it right, because there's some, it's a little bit trickier, but and then I'll explain a little bit maybe in better layman's terms when I finish reading the actual verbiage. So does quote unquote FNS reserve the right to withdraw this approval subject to the availability of funds means? What does that mean? Okay, and so it goes on to say that the Anti-Deficiency Act, and it tells the public law that it's under, prevents federal agencies, which is what we are, from incurring obligations or making expenditures, payments to you guys, in excess of the amounts available in appropriations or funds. Thus, this language establishes a condition on the waivers approved by FNS, which likely will increase program costs. And that's because we're feeding everyone free in all areas, regardless of eligibility. And this can be rescinded if this agency anticipates that the total cost of program operations will exceed the funds available to support it. FNS estimates that existing resources are likely sufficient to support the extension of the waiver, expanding the summer feeding and SSO sites to areas not eligible through December 31st of 20. But impacts from waivers, flexibilities, and changes in program operations due to COVID-19 public health emergency on federal child nutrition program costs are not yet known. Timely monitoring of program activity is essential to ensure both the continuity of program operations for our partners and the adequacy of funds. In the event FNS projects a shortage of funds prior to the expiration date of this waiver, FNS will notify all state agencies at that time that SFSP and SSO sites in non-area eligibility areas will no longer be able to serve meals for federal reimbursement. FNS will reimburse all claims for qualified meals served prior to the projected date of inadequate funds. FNS will provide advance notice to the extent possible in order to minimize out-of-pocket expenses for program operators. Okay, so basically what that's saying is, if you remember, you guys had a lot of questions in the very beginning of this, and I think your administration did. They kept asking, do we have the money to pay claims? Do we have the money to pay claims? And we had our normal money that we would have paid SSO or summer feeding from even prior to COVID. So we had that lump sum of money. Well then, because of the CARES Act, every state was issued an amount of money to pay claims during COVID. So we had our normal amount of money and we have our CARES money in Oklahoma. We used our CARES money first, as we were instructed, to pay all those claims from March until the money ran out, and it was $64 million is what Oklahoma got. Every state got a different amount. It's based on a formula that USDA figures. So we used all that, and I believe we used it around the early to maybe mid-August. We ran out of our $64 million. Once that CARES money was gone, we then went back to our pot of money that we would have been paying out of had we not received the CARES funding money. That is why there's some excess money to be able to do what they're doing. All states use that CARES money first, so that their normal pot of money is still available. So that's what that is. And that's why they're saying it's contingent on funding. But they've run some numbers, and I think they feel pretty good that this most likely, I'm not going to say it will, most likely will be able to continue through December 31st. But they will let us know as soon as they think it's getting close to possibly running out. Okay, so now we're going to go to, okay, do you have a time to start for me for the questions?
I don't, because I can't see the questions.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want to run through these
Yes.
two slides first?
Yes, there are two more slides that I need to go to. Thank you, Dana. So let's talk about the claims. So in SSO or SFSP, the application must be approved before you may enter a claim. We cannot pay a claim without an approved application in our systems. double check to make sure the correct program is selected and the correct month is selected before entering and certifying the claim. Those are just reminders. Okay, the next slide says, okay, we've had a couple questions. I already submitted my National School Lunch August claim. Can I unsubmit it myself? Yes, you may unsubmit the claim yourself. First, you must go to the View Claim Summary page, and at the bottom, click Unsubmit SFA Claim. Then return to your National School Lunch site claim. So it could be your elementary school, your middle school, your high school, or all of the above, and click Unsubmit Site Claim. And just a note, the View Claim Summary is the big district-wide claim button that you have to submit to send your entire, every site's claim to us to be paid. Okay. The next one, I'm trying to move some things around on my screen so I can read it. Okay. I unsubmitted my Nslp August, but the numbers of meals and dollar amounts are still there. How can I delete these numbers? The numbers will remain there. Unsubmitting the View Claim Summary and Site Claims is all that you need to do. Okay. All right. Now we are going to give us a minute. Dana's going to switch gears here and go to her chat so she can see it, and we can kind of work through this like we normally do. So I'm going to scroll up, give us just a few seconds, and I'm going to find some of the first questions we had. And we're going to work through these.
151 was a question.
Oh, okay. I scrolled past it, I guess.
We had ISD students that come to our school from other schools. They eat.
Okay. My assumption is ISD is in-school detention students that come to our school from other schools, and they eat breakfast and lunch. Are they counted separate from our other students, or do we count them with our SSO daily meal count tally mark form as well? Right now, because of how we're operating, you can claim them under SSO. Yes, that is the case. Okay, so now we're going to scroll down past all the highs and hellos from all you great people and find our first set of questions. Give us just a second.
206.
All right, I'm almost there. 206, not quite.
Nancy, she kind of answered that one.
Okay. All right. If we claim under SSO, do we have to repay the full pays and reduced parents? If they're okay with you crediting their account for those meals for August that they would have paid for, you can credit their account. If they want their money back, you do have to refund them. Okay, Lisa, if we are waiting on being approved for SFSP for September, can we wait to file and cover the August meals as free? No, you've got to file each month separately. Yeah. So, and yes, they did retro August meals back to when you started school. If our school day hours are over 7 hours per day, we are serving supper. Does this teacher instruction meet the educational requirement? Oh, that's a loaded question that we've battled for several years. Because it's part of the expanded learning day, we have allowed it. Management company spending over 150 without rebidding. Okay, so this won't apply to everyone. This will only apply to schools that are a food service management company. There's that material change statement with management companies. And if you hadn't marked SSO on your contract with them, and you may go over the 150 material change, because of COVID, they won't require a rebid next year. So Thunderbird can submit for a supper meal. I'm assuming this is Thunderbird Academy. If you are already claiming breakfast and lunch under SSO, that would be all you could claim under SSO. If you And then I believe Thunderbird, I could be wrong when I say this is residential. And I'll have to check, Mark, Mark, we may need to have a conversation because residential and CACFP don't jive. I'm writing your name down, Mark. Okay. Okay. Yes, you may be reimbursed for your August meals free under SSO or SFSP, and claims are open now. Make sure you put it under the correct program. Lisa, do we need to collect names for the CACFP supper meals like a normal year, or can we just count the meals? Well, part of the, if you're referring to sending them home in a grab and go setting, you have to, the requirement of ensuring that a meal goes to a child, if it's not given to a child, but even if it's given to a parent or guardian, you will have to, your plan has to address that. We have to ensure that a meal goes to a child. So if that means checking someone off of a list, like a roster, and writing a younger sibling's name down, that's what you have to do. We have to ensure that. If we are still doing SSO, do we need to differentiate meals picked up from students at our school versus meals of students who attended elsewhere? No, you do not. Now, let me take that back though. Yes, in a sense you do, because just like I said a minute ago for the at-risk, if a parent is coming to pick up a meal, they have a parent guardian waiver, you have to ensure that meal is going to a child. So if that means writing down a name or checking off a list, then you would. But if, but obviously coming through the line at school, you're going to know those are your kids because you're not going to let visitors come into the school. Most schools aren't allowing visitors in. So, all right. So we need to adjust our SSO application in CARS before filing the claim. Maybe you mean making sure August is marked, Shannon. Maybe that's what you mean. Make sure you have a gold lock by your SSO and that you've marked August on your SSO claim. Are Smart Snack standards still in place for a la carte sales while serving through summer feeding? Yes, but you do have to make sure they meet those standards, but you can do a la carte still. Yes. Okay, I guess we had an issue with the slides not changing for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Can we just do the regular meal claim for August and start the SSO claim for September? If that's what you want to do, you can. But I mean, if you claim under National School Lunch, School Breakfast, you're claiming categorically free, reduced, and paid. If you claim under SSO, they're all free. There's going to be an increase in reimbursement there. But if that's what you choose to do, I think there are some schools that planned on doing that. Can we file August as Nslp and then do September as SSO if that's what you choose to do? We are planning to just leave August. Okay. In September, we changed to SSO. We will need to do claims showing the contract meals and adult meals through the Nslp and then claim the student meals under SSO. Well, you never claim adult meals. They aren't claimable. And your contract meals, now that we, maybe those are potentially Head Start meals, contract meals is what you're referring to. You can claim those as free under SSO. But adult meals aren't claimable, never have been under any situation. They have to pay. Do we still need to adjust our SSO application and add August? Currently, my e-claim shows that I am ineligible to file August claim under SSO. If you want to claim your August meals under SSO, we need August marked in the system. Yes. So if we do SSO, do we have to do home school kids, etc., like we did in the spring, or can we just serve our own kids? You can do both, whichever one you would prefer. If you want to only serve your students and no siblings of those students, or nothing, just your enrolled students, you need to be a closed enrolled site. If you want to serve siblings and other kids from another district, you would need to be an open site. they are working off of the memo in cars, the Q&A is attached to that. Oh, okay. School okay. JD, this only includes students, correct? Not staff. They have asked. No, staff are never fed for free. Except for cafeteria workers, I was just whispered to. But no, staff have to pay. Have you received any guidance on school districts with, that must be low, free, and reduced, who has never participated in SFSP, currently participating in SSO, how to get on SFSP? Right now, because we have the area eligibility waiver, you could apply for SFSP. So you can reach out to D. Houston at our office. They have to be 18 and under, don't have to be students though. No, if you're gonna, no, they, in fact, if they're 19 and they turn 19 and they're still enrolled in school, so Dan, in your case, if you have any seniors that have turned 19, you can feed them because they're still enrolled in school. And of course, if they have a disability, it's up to 21. But no, it doesn't just have to be Edmond students or whatever school district it might be, but I just use Dan's Edmond as an example. No, there's not seconds in SSO. And then how do we claim snacks with SSO? You would have to apply for the after school snack program through the National School Lunch Program. And then you would claim your breakfast and lunch through SSO. And if you are approved for after school snack program, which you apply for in cars, just like you do the other programs, you would claim those snack meals under National School Lunch After School Snack. We abbreviate it ASSP for After School Snack Program. And that does require, if you're sending that home in a virtual grab and go setting, it requires the virtual educational enrichment component, just like at risk. I have received no guidance on special milk. I'm glad you asked. I will find out. So we are going to table that question. Sorry, Gwinnett. My summer feeding application will not allow me to add a claim. It says it has not been approved. It says dates cannot be submitted any later than August 31st. Yeah, we are waiting for that. We had to have our IT department, isn't that what we're waiting on, June? Yeah. We had to have our IT department be able to expand the dates of operation. So that's happening to several people. Just stay tuned. We're hoping Wednesday or Thursday that will be complete. Yes, you may submit your August claim under SSO if you're approved for SSO and you have August checked in SSO. Yes, you'll need to do the 3-week review on SSO. And I realize that the guidance is late. We didn't have an answer. You may, and we're letting you retro back to August. Get it done ASAP. Do we need to do tally sheets for August, or do we just use our edit check sheet for reimbursement? Well, since you didn't know this was going to happen, you'll have to just use what you have on your edit check at this point, because we had no idea this was coming. We had no idea if you'd be able to retro back to August to be paid. So we would have to use your edit check and use those numbers, but they would all be reimbursed at the free, not free, reduced, or paid in that case. No, you don't need to do anything for waiver 57. You do not. We opted into these as a state. I was told to uncheck August SSO on my application because they were using Nslp when we started. That's what we knew at the time. Now, do I need to go back and revise that application to include August? Yes, we will have to, that will have to be done. My applications are not approved yet, but since we charge for the month of August, can I claim Nslp and start SSO for September? Yes. So you'll just, Jill, you'll just file your August claim under Nslp and SBP like you normally would. And then for September, make sure that your SSO application's approved and you have September marked, October, November, and December for sure marked under SSO. We are in virtual school right now, but if we decide to go back to school, do we still do SSO? Yes. As of right now, that's the guidance we've been given. Do we have to advertise that kids were free in August, or can we just credit their accounts? You can give them credit for their August meals if they were paid, any reduced or paid student. But if a parent was to call and request a refund of their money, you do have to issue a refund. I submitted my August SFSP claim when our program ended, we thought, on August 7th. How can I claim the meals and SFSP that were served after school started in August? There will have to be a claim revision done, and you'll need to reach out to Dee. She can help you with that. So we can serve meals for the weekend and holidays, but we have to have our SSO application as an open site. No, you could serve weekends and holidays for your students only as a closed site. If there's a quarantine and the entire kitchen staff is in quarantine, is there a program of child nutrition staff that could go to the school and make and serve meals if that school does not have subs to fill in? I'm not aware of any, Christina. If I applied for SSO in July but was never informed if I was approved or not, how would I find out if I was approved for August? Paula, in CARS, if you have gold locks by your in your checklist, that would mean your application's approved. And you could open up your SSO application and see what months are marked in there. And if August is marked and has a gold lock, you're good to go. I want to make sure that we can feed siblings that are not yet in school but have siblings that attend the school. That is correct. That's because they extended the summer feeding and SSO waivers through December 31st, contingent on funding. Is the 2021 SFP application available? No, not yet. Well, should be maybe another week, and that will be available. The program is October, but our system only allowed claiming and applications from May to August because we've never dealt with anything like this before. So we've had to make some adjustments to our system kind of on the fly. Can we go back and change the app to include August in our SSO if we only ask for September through December? Yes, you may. True. Okay. I have to manually credit or reimburse my students. Is it acceptable to file my August SSO claim while working on getting reimbursement back to the student's account? Yes. Or do reimbursements have to happen before I can? No, you can work on crediting those. That's fine. If you don't have, someone mentioned to me, if you don't have August checked in the SSO application system marked, we do have to we have to reject it, basically unoffice, unapprove it, and go in, and then you guys can check it, resubmit it, and we re-office approve it. See, I've done that one. If I was approved for August for last year for SSO and I did not add August to this year's application, do I need to unlock my application? Yes, we need to unlock it. That is correct, and you can add August. Anyone have a suggestion on how to delete meals from mass lunchroom program for a whole month? Call mass. You can do that. If we do a third meal, can we send the meal home with the child and just do a roster check off? It does not have to be consumed during school hours. So if you're, okay, so are these for, Karen, if these are for grab and go, you do have to do the virtual educational enrichment component, and you can send that meal home. If these are kids that are attending the actual brick and mortar school, and are they staying for an after school program, they would eat the meal there. And yes, you would have to do the normal paperwork requirement for that at-risk supper meal. I may have missed something there. You can let me know. So we won't do any claims for the rest of the year, just August? No? That's not the case. You'll do a monthly claim just like you always do. Yes, Lisa, contract Head Start meals can be free under SFSP during this time frame. Once this, be it December or whenever it ends, I'm hopeful that it's December for all of you. Then it would need to go back to the way it was under the contract, with what the contract is. Yes, can Head Start meals be claimed on SFSP? We generally provide those meals as contract meals, but SFSP would be beneficial to both the Head Start and the school. That is correct. And as soon as these waivers either don't get extended or stopped, you have to go back to your normal contracting. So we contract with Head Start and they want to claim them, and I invoice Head Start, so I don't need to worry about the Head Start, then correct. That is correct, Gloria. If you want to just keep it the way you guys have always done it, that's fine too. Adult meals aren't claimable and aren't free. Yes, but are they listed on the Nslb claim in CARS? Do we not need to put adult meals? No, you would put them. You do put your adult meals on the adult line like you would normally do. If we have students here from other schools for a tournament and it's during school hours, can we feed all the students under SSO? Yes, you may. Yes, you may. I am assuming I will need to contact Dee in opening my August claim back up for SFSP since I already filed. Yes, you will. She will help you with those revised claims. Can you repeat what you said at the beginning about submitting free lunches for virtual students? Submitting free lunches. You can claim students free under SSO or SFSP as long as you have an approved application. I'm trying to think what exactly I had said. Does anybody remember what else I said in regards to that?
It's an open site.
I mean, if you have as long as you're an open site, you can claim all kiddos, even the younger siblings, just like you did March through August. If you want to be a closed enrolled site and only feed your enrolled students, you can. But again, if they come pick up a meal and a grab and go in a virtual setting, you wouldn't be able to give it to the younger siblings that aren't enrolled. If you're closed enrolled, I may not have covered that, Michelle. You might need to let me know what I missed if I didn't hit on something. Let's see. I was told by Head Start not to feed them free. Oh, on SSO, but to continue billing them as usual per. And I think that is probably per your area consultant. We had the same consultant. Do these meals need to be on a claim if there's no reimbursement? I was just asking if adult and contract need to be shown on a claim since they are recorded under NS. I think maybe that, Marty, that might have been before we received this additional guidance, possibly, is why you were told that, because we didn't have guidance on how to handle Head Start. That might be part of that. I'm just asking if adult and contract need to be shown on a claim since they are recorded under Nslp. Adults do need to go on that adult line. I misunderstood that question earlier. I apologize. That may answer the question. Do you know when SFSP will open so we can change our end dates? We're hoping by Wednesday or Thursday that we'll have that system. They kind of consider it an enhancement, and so it takes a little bit. IT stuff just isn't done overnight with these systems. Do you know when we can apply for SFSP for October forward? We're hoping in about a week or less. Yes. Is our SFP application good until December 31st? No, the summer feeding application, unfortunately, is only good till October 1. Or, well, no, September 30th. You have to renew. We don't have it open yet. We are still working on that on the IT side. Can we use edit check sheets for SSO claims instead of tally sheets? I mean, that would probably be fine, because as long as you have a point of service count, that's the most important thing. And if they're going through the line, if you're feeding them in person in the brick and mortar school, and that's how you're getting your count, that would be acceptable. How do you do the 3-week review? there's a form that you have to complete, and that's in Teams. The area consultants have those, right? Can you get that to them? It's in other documents. Okay. The 3-week review is under other documents in cars, and what else? What? Under seamless summer in cars. I apologize. And the tally sheets there too. Okay, if you want to use that. Okay. My Nslp application is still pending. Are they still working? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are all still working at approving them. Are we still using our computer system to keep track of meals? I'm using our tally sheet for non-students and edit check meals served to students. That okay? Continues. That should be fine. If we use SSO, are we allowed to feed the siblings or just students that are enrolled? If you're an open site, you may serve the siblings as well. You have to ensure that a meal is going to a child. You can't just leave meals anywhere. You have to make sure meals are going to a child. And if that means checking off a list or writing a child's name down because they're not on the list because they're not enrolled, but it's a sibling or something to that effect, that's what you'll have to do. On my application, I was told to uncheck SSO and check SFSP. Can I claim under either program for August to December? SFSP isn't an option for me to choose when filling out the claim. Well, in cars, under the National School Lunch, School Breakfast Application System, you can only apply for SSO. SFSP is in another claiming system. They aren't the same, different program. And if you want to do SFSP, you need to reach out to D. Houston in our office. I do not have guidance on verification yet. That is part of the guidance that the next round of guidance should address all of that. Okay, call Mass, but they will charge you. Bless their hearts. Snacks should be claimed in Nslp and the other 2 meals in SSO. Should snacks be by count or by the individual student? Yes, Harold, you're right. Your after school snack will be claimed under Nslp and your breakfast and lunch will be claimed under SSO. And your snacks, there's a form in the Child Nutrition Manual that is an attendance and meal count form in one. That's what you need for your snacks. For brick and mortar, you could use that same form for virtual grab and go. I heard that Mass question about deleting meals for home. Okay. Debbie has just answered some of the Mass question here. My SSO has been approved in August, has been selected. Should I be able to submit claims now, or are we still waiting on changes in the system to the system? I'm not seeing the SSO option. It's in the drop-down box below when they claim, isn't it? Just like they would pick National School Lunch, School Breakfast, there's an SSO option down there. I have a audience here with me. We didn't want anybody taking up lines in our office for you guys to be on because we have a 500 person limit, and we got up to 499 a little bit ago. So we had our office people come in our conference room, safely distanced from each other with masks. So don't worry about that. When you normally claim, you have to select in a drop-down box, and I'm like visualizing using my hands here while I'm talking. If you're doing an Nslp claim or an SBP, there's a drop-down for SSO also. That's where you'll put your SSO claim in. I was able to get in on the beginning. Will the slides be available to view tomorrow? The recording of this will be up in the next day or so once we get, we have to do closed captioning. We can't get around that. So the adult meals still need to be included in our Nslp claim. I don't see a place on the SSO claim. Is there a place for adults? Not on SSO. There's not a place to put adult meals on SSO. It's only under Nslp. To clarify, we still claim all meals under SSO, but have a separate list with names for those who don't actually attend our school. Well, if you're doing a virtual grab and go, and you're giving the meals to a parent because you have the parent pickup waiver and the kids aren't in the car to get the meal, you have to ensure that that meal is going to a child. So even if there are students at your school, if the child's not in the car, you have to check off a name. If they're not in your school and they're in the car because it's a cousin or something, you can write that child's name down. We have to ensure a meal goes to a child. And if that means handing it to the child or handing it to a parent or guardian, that's what you do. If you are using SSO for your students, would you still need to do Nslp claim to show adult meals even though you're not reimbursed for them? I'm gonna say no. Yeah, Becky brought up a good point. You could just maintain that, maybe a total on your production record for that day, for that month or something to that effect. Okay, night school. I have yet to get any guidance on that. Let me jot that down again, Shannon. You have 6 that attend after regular hours 3 nights a week. They are all free students. Can we still serve them? Let me double check. Shannon, can you type in the chat who you're with? Please. Thank you. If the SFSP application isn't ready by October 1 or not approved yet, can we continue to feed under? Yes, you may. Continue to feed until it's approved or ready. Yes, you may. Who should do the 3-week review? The school district employee. If we are feeding SFSP as an open site, do we have to write the names of all the kids down that get meals coming through the line, even if the child isn't in the car with the parent? Or a checkoff list would work too. Again, you have to ensure the meal is going to a child. That's in the waiver. The waiver is written that way. That's not us trying to be difficult in any way, but the waiver has to ensure program integrity. Number 1 priority through all this, program integrity. If we are not approved, do you suspect us to be approved? Should we begin serving for free or wait to continue to take? No, you may start serving under SSO or SFSP. You may do that. Can we use the seamless summer daily meal count form for the meals served? Yes. You also have to have a way to ensure writing down or checking off a child that received a meal. Again, meal has to go to ensure it's going to a child at all times. Can we continue with edit checks instead of tally sheets? You can, if they're going through the line, and that would be easier for you all. Will we be reimbursed for all meals at the free rate? Yes, under SSO and SFSP, you will, if you choose to go that route. If you stay National School Lunch, School Breakfast, you will have to claim those meals categorically for reduced and paid, according to the child's status. I filled out the FY21 app for SSO. Is that the correct app? And year for the December 30th extension, or should I have gone back to 2020 and changed that app? No. The new school year started July 1st, and the application you've been completing is what you will use for this school year. Mr. DeWitt, I don't know yet. I'm still waiting on guidance for that. And that's hopefully the next set of guidance we will be getting soon. We don't have any information on what we're going to do about low income for this year, October verification. Don't have any guidance on that yet, but that's a nationwide question that's been asked since these memo or extensions came out a little over a week ago, or probably close to 2 weeks now, I guess. My school is CEP. If I'm going to claim SSO, do I have to use the SSO check sheet, or will the CEP meal count sheet? They're basically very close to the same thing. Edgar graciously brought me the review. They're pretty much the same thing. So the most important thing is there's a point of service count being taken as they go through the line. If you're doing a grab and go, even a delivery, you have to have a way to ensure the meal is going to a child. Do we know how going on summer feeding programs will affect our commodities for next year? I don't think we've heard, have we? You might.
Gina wants to use last year's or the year before numbers. But
that is true. We did tell Gina to use the, what did we say, 18-19 school year lunch numbers to figure commodities, because we had a drop for 19-20 because of COVID. So we have done that. We do know that. You might, other than that, that's about all we can answer on commodities at this point. They're waiting on a lot of guidance as well. Gina sits in on all our weekly calls with USDA, and all those programs that do commodities have the same questions. I have a lot of questions and they're not getting answers. In fact, we're probably getting more answers than they are on that side of the program.
Shannon's written down.
There is a lot of different information. We will be sending this video or this audio will be posted once we get closed captioning to it in about a couple days. It takes the company a couple days to do it. They have a pretty good turnaround, and then we do post Q&As. Okay, Lexington, thank you, Sharon. Oh, Dana just told me she wrote that down. Okay, sorry, I'm sure you've answered this. My application has been approved, but on the SSO I didn't check August. What do I need to do? We need to in-office reject it, and then you can check August, resubmit it, and we can reapprove it. And Jeff, if you have Infinite Campus, he's spoken with them, and they can go back and reserve students at 0 going back to August 1st and then credit the accounts. They have been working with several states already. Yeah, it's a nationwide issue. Definitely. I did my 3-week review in June. Do I need to do another 3 weeks after school started? Your 3-week review for SSO, I would just, since you did it in June, but you did it, that was for last summer. So yes, another one does have to be done right now. So just plan on doing one within the next week or so for the new school year. Do we have to do the 3-week review every 3 weeks? No, it's a one-time thing. You do it once. So just get that done in the next week or so. So do we need to keep account of the children getting lunch, or can we just use a tally sheet? If you're doing a grab and go or delivery model, you have to ensure that meal is going to a child if a parent's picking it up. So if that means you're gonna mark off a list of a roster from the district, or if you're gonna write a child's name down if they're a younger sibling that aren't in the district, and you can count those up, or as you write the name down, you can mark on the tally sheet. If we are doing SSO and keeping track on tally sheets, do we need to still put them in mass system as well for the low income report?
The low income report has nothing to do with meals.
The low income report has nothing to do with meals. It's free and reduced, and we're not using free and reduced right now. So we're waiting on guidance from USDA on how we're going to come up with those. I don't know about verification yet. That guidance is the next set of guidance that will be coming. Our app was submitted on 8/27 for CEP. Any idea how long before we know if it's approved? We have to get the verification information from the consultant on that. So, okay, do we apply for waiver 57? I missed the beginning when you talked about it. No, we've been opting into all these waivers as a state, which in turn gives that flexibility to you. Are we still required to follow the school calendar for serving days? Yes, that is correct. Unless that day that maybe they do, I know at my son's school, they're doing an AB schedule, and AB's in person Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is virtual, then Some kids do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday virtual, and B is Thursday, Friday in school. And so because those are virtual days, they can serve on those days. But if it's like a professional day or something, a day that would already be out, I've been instructed at this point that that's how they're handling that. Could that change? Possibly. Like I have said before, I never would have dreamed that these waivers would have been extended either. So I hate to answer anything 100% concrete at this point. So Frack asked last week about commodities, and they said some states don't allow commodities to be used in summer feeding and CACFP. You can use commodities in summer feeding and in CACFP. Yeah. Oklahoma allows commodities to be used in all programs. And really CACFP, that's, now CACFP programs like daycare centers don't receive commodities, they receive cash in lieu. But if you're doing the at-risk as a school, you can use your commodities in the at-risk program. Just make sure that's clear. That's even part of the at-risk guidance. I may have missed the answer to this question. We use the MAS system. You'll have to contact MAS for that. There's so many different point of sale systems out there. We as a state don't learn how they each operate. You all have a contract with them and you reach out to them. And the next question might answer your question, Christian, in the chat. Judy has reached out to MAS. Okay, good, we got that done. We do not let parents pick up. Child must be in the vehicle, so we can just do the tally sheet. Yes, you can. And that is fine. If you as a school want to do what this particular school's doing, you can, but a lot of schools want the flexibility of parent pickup. So that's why we have to have a plan in place. How will this affect our PLE for next year? That is a great question. And that might be coming in guidance too. So we are fine to do weekend meals for Saturday and Sunday under SSO, but not a Friday if they're a 4-day school week. So that's how I've been told right now, yes. I know that's true for Nslp, but SSO and SFSP as well, since they are programs that usually run when school isn't. The guidance I was given this morning is academic school days. I did reach out to USDA about that. Now she was gonna be on a call and see if she got any other guidance, but I haven't heard from her at this point. If we file kids with SSO, do we still have to submit the adults on the Nslp claim even though they're not reimbursable? No, you do not. We have the parents contact us each day if they are picking up grab-and-go meals. Will the emails received from parents qualify as the needed documentation for children receiving meals? Under that, I'm probably going to have to double check and get clarification on that. Renita, I believe Renita is with Weatherford. Renita, is that right? Weatherford? Maybe there could be more than one Renita, I realize that. Dana's writing a question down. Let's see, so we understood tally sheets would work for both. What do we do about grab and go days served so far? Well, tally, I mean, are you giving, it goes back to, are you, like the question the statement a couple questions ago was, they don't allow, they are requiring the children to be in the car. And if that's the case, then a tally sheet's okay. It's when you're handing the meal to a parent, you have to ensure that meal is going to a child. So you would need to record or check off a roster or something to that effect. Yes, you can use commodities for SSO. Non-pricing school will change. If we are a non-pricing school, will this change anything for the PLE? I don't have an answer to that right now. That's hopefully the next round of guidance that's coming out will address some of this. No, if you're claiming under SSO and you're feeding your cafeteria staff meals, you don't have to worry about putting them on the Nslp side. Yes, that was Renita and Weatherford. Okay, that ends our questions. Does anybody have anything else? That's all we have right now. Again, the recording will be posted in a few days, and the Q&A, give us a few days to, oh, hold on, I've got questions coming. If you use the SSO meal count sheet, do you attach a tally sheet for each class we are serving in the classroom? I would hang on to all those tally sheets, yes, if you're serving in the classroom. Special note, Teresa, tell me what school you're with in the chat, please. So we can write that down, make sure we get back with you. We won't have another Zoom meeting this week unless we were to get guidance. We'll tentatively keep it 2 weeks out, but I have a feeling we'll have guidance before 2 weeks on some other stuff. Fingers crossed we will. So just look for an email. Can we claim kitchen staff on the tally sheet? Does the tally, I haven't looked at the tally sheet since spring. Does it have a place for adults on it? Does anybody know off the top of their head? The summer one does, but I don't think the SSO one does. Thank you, Teresa, Fairview. Let me see what we can come up with. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are doing a great job too. If a student gets an extra milk or juice, do we still charge the amount or is that claim? No, you charge for the extra food. They get one meal that includes, might include juice, but does include milk. If they want anything in addition to that, they are charged you need to charge the a la carte. If they just want milk because they brought their lunch, you need to charge them for the milk. SSO tally sheet does not have adults. Okay, thank you. Gotcha, Renita. Yes. No, you cannot serve seconds in SSO. Thank you. Oh, we got some more thank you guys. I think they're all thank yous. Yep, thank you guys. You guys are doing great. Again, as soon as we get guidance, we are making sure we get a call scheduled. So just, it's ever changing. I thought, you know, we kind of thought maybe once school started, everything would mellow out a little bit, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So just, you guys are doing great. Keep it up, and we will, as soon as we need to schedule something, we will schedule a call if we need to. That's the nice thing about these meetings is we can get them scheduled pretty quickly.
Remind them to, if they've already done an August claim and Nslp, to unsubmit it.
Don't forget, if you've already done your claim for August and Nslp and you want to do it under SSO, you can, but you need to unsubmit your Nslp application. Claim, sorry.
Oh, we knew we'd get one question.
Thank you for
Look at that last
everything.
question.
We appreciate it. The PEBT, the list has been done for months. There's nothing more that can be done about it. The benefits have all been issued. It's basically done. All the benefits have been sent to everyone. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great week. And if we need to get with you back sooner, we will, but we'll probably shoot for a call in 2 weeks. Thank you.